We came up on the Sunday show, and we did it for a little while. The Brown Gobbler for Chase Brown.
Well, I was here for the carryover that Monday. I was like, saw a lot of it in the chat. Didn't love it.
Any sense whatsoever.
Did not love it
The
at
Brown
all.
Gobbler,
The
the best nickname we've come up with this year.
Weird how his season went off the rails right around then.
I'm surprised you didn't drop that on the FNIA Bengals Ravens
Yeah,
game.
you should get during your parlay.
Like the Brown Gobbler over
Mix it in during your
70.5
parlay
rushing
segment.
Would have loved to.
I feel you got something, like you're heating something up there, but you're leaving it in the holster right now.
Yeah.
Fantasy Football Happy Hour with Matthew Berry.
Welcome to the Fantasy Football Happy Hour. The gang is back. When was the last time all four of us did a show together?
It's been a while.
Yeah, but apparently Lawrence is a new human being.
I know.
Hey,
Sure.
You know, I'm trying to get that 7th, 8th year of college eligibility.
Yeah.
I hear that the NBA is sending players to college now, so I'm just trying to get in on that.
My man looks 14.
I know. You could dye that white and literally be Cisco.
Yeah, I could go that route.
Yeah.
You know, maybe Super Bowl week we'll get there.
It's going to be a fun show today. A lot to do.
Maybe.
Previewing, of course, hopefully, previewing the playoffs. We're getting to the coaching carousel that heated up this morning as the Dolphins moved on from Mike McDaniel. And all three of us have pickup lines for Matthew. So instead of him just having to choose Jay over me every time,
Now
he's
he
going to
can
choose
choose Jay
Jay over me and Lawrence.
Yeah.
I heard he does this to you, too, on the weekend.
Yeah, he do. It's, you know.
But in fairness, at least Lawrence always takes all these plus money, these crazy plus money
Right.
bets.
You just don't like me.
Yeah, 100%.
That's
now
how
you've nailed it down. I don't like you. I just don't like his bets. There's a very specific difference there.
Glad we got the science down.
Yeah.
Who drinks free today?
I will tell you why. Because as the season has been slowing down, right, and so there's less football, and we're so excited about the weekend. What are other people doing? Well, people have been starting to watch Stranger Things, right? And so the finale happened recently. Connor, you and I did a deep dive on it as well. No spoilers. I'm not Jay Croucher here, but I'll tell you who drinks free is Stranger Things fans drink free because yesterday.
All right.
So if the algorithm, if your social media algorithm knows that you are a Stranger Things fan, and I am one of them. I've been nothing but insane videos about a crazy 9th episode that was past the finale, that last week was not supposed to be the finale, that the last episode, that there was secret. There's all these crazy conspiracy theories out there, and there's supposed to be this secret episode that aired yesterday. And there were so many people that bought into this conspiracy theory that Netflix literally crashed. It's not true at all. It's not true at all. Netflix literally had to release an official statement.
It's ridiculous.
That the series is over. There is no
Right.
secret episode. There's no 6th season. It's like, it's done. What you saw happened is what happened.
And now you just watch football.
And now you can just watch football, playoff football. And so
Patriots,
whether
Chargers.
you are a fan, whether you're one of those crazy conspiracy fans who, like all these people, like you now look dumb because you've been like, I promise you there's a new episode coming, or you're just the people that got your hopes up. Anyway, all of you drink free today because that was insane,
Foolish.
Connor.
Foolish.
Yeah, that's funny. I don't watch Stranger Things, so I can't really contribute there, but it reminds me of when the final scene of The Sopranos, where everyone thought their power went out, right?
Yes.
Because no one knew what was going on.
That's
and then
right.
It's like, I guess it's and then people literally thought, and back then this was like before Twitter, everyone
Right.
thought their power had gone out.
That's right. And again, I don't want to ruin anything. I will merely say that, The Sopranos ending had questions.
Yes.
Not everything in the Stranger Things universe gets wrapped up in a neat little bow. I'll just leave it very generically. I'll just say a lot of stuff gets wrapped up, but not everything in the Stranger Things universe gets wrapped up in a neat little bow. And so with these questions remaining out there, people started to just go nuts on the conspiracy theories.
Well,
the one thing we do know, Connor, is that the Miami Dolphins need a head coach.
Yeah, the Mike McDaniel era did get a bow put on it. It's over after 4 seasons, and obviously a little bit of a delay here. You get Black Monday, you get a lot of the firings really that morning, but this seems to be one situation where Stephen Ross actually kind of sat on how the season ended for a couple days and released this statement after careful evaluation and extensive discussion since the season, and I've made the decision that our organization is in need of comprehensive change. I informed Mike McDaniel this morning that he has been relieved of his his duties as head coach. I love Mike and want to thank him for his hard work and commitment, the energy he brought to our organization. He's an incredibly creative football mind. His passion for the game and his players was evident every day. I wish him and his family the best moving forward. I guess the question is, guys.
Yeah, Joe Philbin, where are you at?
Joe Philbin.
Come on.
The delay gives the theory that maybe they didn't expect Harbaugh to be fired.
Yeah, if I were to put on my Hercule Poirot hat and deduce from the facts.
Do you have?
I don't
that
have a
hat?
Hercule Poirot hat.
Okay.
I don't have a Daniel Craig and Knives Out hat either. But it is very peculiar. Like they could have made this move on Monday, right? But they didn't. And the fact that they didn't implies that the decision was made because of things that happened since Monday. It's not like they found out on Sunday that they were going to miss the playoffs. Like, this season has really kind of followed a pretty consistent track the entire time. And so I would think that the availability of John Harbaugh
And here, and I'll just say, what's crazy to me is that the Dolphins had every possible reason to just tank this season, to just completely fold. They've had a bunch of injuries. They lose Tyreek Hill. It was not a good season for Tua. But they played hard. To me, again, I'm not a Dolphins fan, and I'm curious your thoughts here, guys. But I feel like the biggest culprit of the challenges that the Dolphins organization has had the last handful of years is Chris Greer. I just don't think that the roster was stocked with enough depth. I think they made a lot of mistakes. I think the jury is still out as to whether or not Tua can be a franchise quarterback.
Drew's back.
Well, he won't
I'm
be.
trying to be kind.
I don't think he will.
Trial over.
In Miami for sure.
Yeah.
No, he's definitely done in Miami. I'm just saying, all I'm saying is it's weird that they easily could have just kind of, Raiders it out and just looked like a disaster. But they played tough down the stretch. They won a bunch of games. Games they had no business winning, games they were not favored in. And
Destroyed the Bills.
Right. And I just
Destroyed them.
like, my point is that McDaniel hadn't lost the locker room. They were still playing really hard for them. And I thought he did a good job. I mean, like, his second best pass catcher was 34-year-old Darren Waller, who was retired last year. I mean, they didn't have a lot of weapons in the stable.
Yep.
And I thought he did a good job, with what he had.
There's a couple fantasy ways to look at this, too. Wherever he goes as a head coach or offensive coordinator, and some rumors are already heating up that would interest you, Matthew, maybe a connection to the Commanders.
I'd be down with that.
Schematically, he's one of the best offensive coaches in the entire sport. Like, take away what you think of him at the podium or his hires on the defensive side of the ball. Schematically, he's one of the best offensive coaches in the sport.
There's no question, and he's probably the best run game coordinator in the NFL in terms of designing a run game. And so I think this is I think it's a loss to Devon Achan's value.
I agree.
As somebody that has Devon Achan in Dynasty, I'm not
because
happy today.
who knows how another coach sees that running back situation? Like, we see it as he's an every down back who's a top 5 rusher in yardage this past season, but maybe they see him like how they saw Achan his first couple seasons.
Yeah, and by the way, even if they say, hey, we think he's an every down back, are they going to design a run game and use him in the passing game as creatively as McDaniel did, right? I mean, like, that's the other thing. It's not just is he going to get the usage, but how effective will the play calling be, And so yes, fantasy value down for, I think, until we see who the head coach is. It's definitely a loss for Achan, and I think probably a loss for Jalen Waddle.
As we said, this coincides with the firing of John Harbaugh after being the Ravens coach for 18 seasons, or as the Ravens put it, 18 tremendous years. And guys, we have odds.
Tremendo years.
Tremendo us years. Tough crop there.
Yeah.
Listen, we have odds from DraftKings. These are always fun to keep an eye on. Yeah, where for the Ravens' next coach.
Oh, the crown is ours.
Yes, Jesse Minter and Kevin Stefanski at the top of this list. Todd Monken being plus 450 is kind of hilarious to me because a lot of the rumors out there is that Harbaugh went to bat to keep Monken.
Yeah.
So I don't think Monken is staying in this organization.
McCarthy at plus 500 is a little nutty.
Let's not do that.
I would have thought Clint Kubiak and Brian Flores would be a little higher.
I agree,
Both
Lawrence.
of those guys are interviewing with the Ravens, so yeah.
Flores, to me, is the really interesting one. To me, that makes, get a defensive-minded head coach, right? I mean, that's Baltimore's always been known for their defense. Flores is great. By all accounts, players love him as well, right? You're closer to this, Connor, than I am, but I've heard that, Flo is players love playing for him.
Yeah, if you're in his defense, you're going to have the best year of your career typically with how he knows how to utilize everybody.
But just in terms of just relating to players as well, because it does sound like when you read some of the behind-the-scenes stuff that maybe they didn't make this move without, Lamar's approval or at least not disapproval. Like, it feels like Lamar was, Lamar didn't stand up and say, please don't do this.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like.
The thing is, too, is with coaching, really across all sports, it's just so difficult to evaluate exactly your level of aptitude, particularly when it's someone like John Harbaugh who doesn't have a specific side of the ball. But there are some coaches who we know are difference makers. We know Brian Flores is a difference maker. He always overachieves with his defense. The same way that we know Kyle Shanahan is a difference maker with his offense. So I would think that Brian Flores, I understand that didn't end great in Miami, but at the same time, his performance as a team in Miami was fine.
I think the Miami thing was more of a him and Tua type
which
of thing.
aged well for him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think Brian Flores could, bring that toughness that this Baltimore defense severely lacks. Even watching that Week 18 game before it came down to the final buzzer, you just watch and you say, this Baltimore Ravens defense is not physical. Well, that will certainly change with a guy like Brian Flores. And when you already got the guy at quarterback, shore up the part of the team that actually needs it. Like, their 2 cornerbacks gave up the most yardage this season. So you need big help on that side of the ball.
I think it was surprising to a lot of people that Harbaugh was let go. I mean, this is somebody who, again, Tyler Loop makes a field goal. I think everyone thinks differently. Mark Andrews catches a 2-point conversion last year. I think people think differently. I mean,
I would say if the Ravens go to the playoffs and then they lose to the Texans, then we still sitting here in the same spot today.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
It's been bubbling
It would have had to been a deep playoff run. Yeah.
I know. I feel that people feel like they've underachieved.
Neck brace nation. I always love when I see this avatar.
It's the best.
Terrifying stuff.
Harbaugh might take the year off. I don't think he will.
I don't think so either.
I think he's waiting to interview next week because he wants to see if any more jobs open.
Checking for them Bills.
Where would you want to go if you were John Harbaugh?
Does it have to be open today, or this weekend could change things?
This weekend could change things.
Bills.
Yeah. Because, you talk about
Sign
Miami, and you talk about a Bills team, if they take that loss and they make a change, like Miami, Bills. Come on, what are you going to...
You have Josh Allen in his prime.
Yeah.
And that's the team that has given the Ravens problems over the years.
Right.
Give me Josh Allen.
Giants are a good spot for him.
Yeah. Stefanski seems to make so much sense for the Giants.
Yeah, I think that if you are a head coach in demand and you can choose, there's only 32 of those gigs out there, right? But I think if you are a head coach and you can choose, it's all about the quarterback. I mean, now his downfall, of course, he's lasted 18 years, but his downfall was that they felt like he didn't get enough of prime Lamar, right? Which is fair, but the fact that you're going to go yes, if you've got a chance to coach Josh Allen, if you've got a chance to coach Jackson Dart, even if you have a chance to go to the Raiders where you have a number 1 pick and you're like, I'm going to get Fernando Mendoza, I'm going to get a franchise quarterback that I can develop. It's so much a better situation than what's Miami going to do at quarterback? Some coach going there.
Willis to sign there?
Yeah, but that's what it is.
Murray, yeah.
Kyler Murray. It's because it's like you're sitting there with Quinn Ewers and Zach Wilson, and so the teams that have an opening with a quarterback are much more. I'd make an argument that Tennessee might be a better situation than Miami as we sit here today, because at least
I wouldn't argue that at all.
Depends
There's
who you think
value
of
in Cam Ward.
Yeah, I like Cam Ward a lot.
Cam Ward. And
Right.
knowing who you got right there, just knowing that you have to put a better team around them, I would take.
Think about Jacksonville last year. You knew you had a quarterback, right? And you were able to get Liam Cohen went there and said, I'm going to get the most out of Trevor Lawrence, and that's exactly what he did. And now they're in the playoffs. They're the 3 seed.
Yep.
So, speaking of the playoffs, Connor.
Speaking of the playoffs, let's talk about the good teams right now in the NFL. The wild card weekend, of course. We got plenty of previews here. But let's get into the Panthers-Rams, which has the biggest spread of all of these games. And we got to hear from Stafford and McVay reflecting on the last time they played against the Panthers when they lost.
I'd like not to throw it to their team. I think that was the story of the game when you think about it. I mean, we moved the ball well in some areas, scored a couple, in the red zone, did some nice things, ran it well, and just had the turnovers. And really, you look at their defense, that's what they've been able to do to a lot of teams.
Big point of emphasis was the 3 turnovers, and they didn't have any. They had some key and critical, 3rd and 4th downs. I thought they were able to run the ball and kind of control the clock. And the possessions were limited. And so, that was a big thing. But, you give them respect. They made the plays and did the thing to be able to win the football game. And it's a good, humbling day for us, and we're excited about the challenge going against them again.
evil grin.
Evil grin at the end. For those that are just
listening.
listening, he was just like, we're excited about going against him again.
And held a smile.
And
Could be playing the Eagles in Philly.
And then he licked his lips. Yeah. I'm making that up. He didn't do that. He licked his lips and he rubbed his hands together, all excited.
No lip licking.
and just stared into the camera.
Like Wile E. Coyote before.
I mean, I'm sure that's
well.
what he did the first time in Week 13. They was 10-point favorites in that game as well.
Am I crazy to think the Panthers cover this? 10.5 is a big number
They
for a road game.
they could cover.
I'm asking Jay, not you plus money.
There's no point. Yeah. We're sitting out pickup lines.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not doing it. No.
I wouldn't be backing the Panthers
You're not
plus
getting my
10.5.
So you're not getting
Not
my
desperate
bet.
to back the Rams minus 10.5. But
No, I'm not desperate to. I'm just saying, like,
it's a lot of points.
it's a lot of points for a game that's on the road against a team that beat them previously. I understand that was a fluky game. The 3 turnovers, they converted 2 4th downs. They got to Stafford twice, and they still only beat them by a field goal.
Yeah, the problem with the Panthers is they don't do anything well. So that's the problem of trying to beat the Rams. I don't know. Yeah. If they
Sorry,
get 3
Pounders.
turnovers again out of Stafford, then maybe. But yeah, the Rams the funny thing is if you flip this around, this is saying basically that if the Rams are at home, they'd be 14.5-point favorites in a playoff game.
I think it's a trap line.
Yeah.
I wouldn't bet it.
No, I don't want to touch it at all.
But if the Rams win by 17 points, you're like, oh yeah. Rams win by
No,
17 points.
no, 1,000%. Like the Rams could blow them up by 25. Like there's no like by 4 touchdowns. It's not a shock. But I also just sort of feel like I don't know. This smells like a backdoor cover. This smells like
It's a lot of points.
10.5 is a lot of points for a game that again is on the road. Carolina, like it's a playoff game. I don't know, man.
Matthew Stafford has a bogey division. He cannot beat the NFC South recently. Imploded against the Falcons.
Yes, he did.
Imploded against the Panthers. I suspect he won't implode on Sunday.
And that's
on
why
Saturday,
we
and I'll beat him,
shouldn't
but-
feel like they just gonna come in here and roll these dudes over. Like
I'm in the most insane playoff pool that's ever been created, and there's 3 steps. There's a bunch of 3 steps. It's a whole thing. I won't describe the whole thing. I won't Finding Nemo it to you guys.
You can if you want.
Yeah. But it's actually very clever. It's basically there's 3 different steps that you have to do throughout each round of the playoffs up into the Super Bowl, and you pick fantasy points, you pick games against the spread, and then you do a survivor, like only one. Yeah. I think you can only pick a team once, and it's an entire system that gives you points. And that point, by the end of when you get to the Super Bowl, everyone in the pool has a certain amount of points, and that translates to how many squares you get in a Super Bowl square thing.
Ridiculous.
Like it's the most insane, and I actually love it. The whole reason I bring that up is that one of the legs is that you have to confidence rank. You have to pick against the spread, and then you have to confidence rank them.
Yeah.
Like this is my number 1, this is my number 2. You get 6 points if you get first right on through. And my last choice. My second last choice was Rams Panthers.
What's your most confident spread?
My most confident spread was the Chargers. I took your pick.
Wow.
Chargers plus 3.5.
Wow.
There you go.
Sure. I would take the Steelers plus 3 on Monday Night Football. But
That was my second one. I think I took that. But yeah, that one. The other one I don't have a great feel for is Packers -1. That's like a.
Yeah, I think the Packers win, but who knows?
Poke Up said, Rico doing 3 pumps? This is the time.
Yeah, this is a Lawrence question.
you can do 4 pumps.
Really?
Yeah, you can do.
I mean, the fine probably won't change based on
Nah.
how many extra pumps you do.
Looks like Vinny says Panthers have zero business being in the playoffs. Going to be a JV team versus an NFL team.
It is pretty insane that the Detroit Lions are at home, and the Detroit they didn't earn their way in, but still, yeah, the Panthers. There would be lots of teams who wouldn't be 10.5-point dogs at home against them.
Look, did it? Oh no. The Panthers did not beat the Seahawks. There was another good team they beat. Can't think of it off the top of my head that they had.
The Falcons. They beat your Falcons twice.
I said a good team.
Yeah.
Jay, anything on the board catch your eye for notable player props in this game?
Yeah, I think that Tetero and McMillan at 55.5, I would lean over there just because I do think that the Rams will have explosive plays through the air, which means that the Panthers, I don't think the Rams are necessarily going to be bleeding 10 minutes a clock, and I think the Panthers are playing from behind. We saw what T-Mac, a national audience finally saw what T-Mac could do against the Bucs, and suspect that as a 10.5-point dog needing to throw, And Bryce had some success against the Rams last time. T-Mac didn't do a great deal in that game. He got the one bomb touchdown. But yeah, Tetairoa McMillan, he's the best chance the Panthers have in this game.
92.5 is a really crazy high line for Puka Nacua, and I would take the over.
Still.
Yeah.
I would still take the over.
It's Puka.
Yeah, it's Puka.
I'll just throw this out here. When the Rams played the Panthers in Week 13, Bryce Young was quarterback 4 in fantasy that week.
As a 10.5-point dog, I mean, as you sort of talk about playoff pools, we'll talk a little bit more about this in the next segment as well. But yeah, I mean, you could certainly see negative game script, and like he's been a game manager for much of the season, but he's not going to be able to be that against the Rams. I mean, he was 15 of 20 when they beat him. But like again, they're 10.5-point dogs.
Yeah.
They're going to have to throw.
The issue is with Bryce, and I agree, but in a lot of games where like he has to throw, he just doesn't. They don't sustain drives. The Seahawks game, they were down the whole game, and they got blown out late. And it's like, all right, where are the Bryce Young garbage time yards? It's never come. Kneeling out the clock, down by 2 scores. So, yeah, it's been a very strange season for the Panthers. It is bizarre that they are in the playoffs, but we are here. And Bryce Young has had flashes, and Tetairoa McMillan's an elite wide receiver, so who knows?
All right, next up, the Packers going to Chicago, the 7th seed Packers. This is a almost pick, Jay, I feel like, this game. As you look at some of the notable DraftKings prices for each player, not surprised because of the volume to see Josh Jacobs at the top of the board there, Matthew.
Yeah, I mean, look.
Although volume at the end of the year with some injuries, and it did get a little wonky at times.
He did, but, you know, in games in which he does get a lot of work, where he's seen at least 15 touches a season, you know, he's averaging over 18 fantasy points per game. He's scored in 8 of 10 games on the road at Chicago. He's had a few weeks to heal up. This is their best chance. Like, again, one of the tougher players in the NFL. I think Josh Jacobs gets a big workload here against Chicago, and I think he's fairly successful. I like all the running backs in this game. If I was Chicago, I wouldn't let Caleb Williams throw it. Like, I mean, that defense, since Micah Parsons has gone down, is, I mean, we saw what Derrick Henry did to them, right? I don't think it's a particularly strong run defense. I think the Bears have a very good offensive line. It's going to be cold in Chicago. I think I would just, DeAndre Swift, Common Unguy, DeAndre Swift. I would just pound the hell out of it left and right if I was Chicago.
Yeah. What do you think of this Packers defense now? Because coming into the season, before the Parsons trade, the Packers were like a trendy Super Bowl pick. I understand the offense doesn't have Tucker Kraft, but I think we're that concerned about their offense. On defense, it's still like, you've still got an elite safety pairing. You've still got Edgerrin Cooper and Co. at linebacker. I understand there's no Parsons there, but Lucas Van Ness is healthy.
Right.
Rashawn Gary's there. The corners are a little suspect.
That's the number one question for me is the corner play, right? And this is somebody in Ben Johnson that is he going to know how to scheme a couple touches to Luther Burden and DJ Moore. And Rome Odunze being on the field helps the usage of those guys. So that's the matchup that concerns me.
I'm looking at that screen there on the board, Luther Burden at $4,600. So the Bears and
These
Packers.
are all DraftKings prices for DFS, by the way.
DraftKings prices, yes. So they played twice within 2 weeks, right? Week 14, Week 16. That first matchup, Luther Burden led the Bears in receiving. So I do agree with you, Matthew, in saying they should attack by running the ball. You literally just saw what Derrick Henry did to him. But we know Caleb Williams is going to throw somewhere around 20 to 25 passes, somewhere in that range, and we know he could break the pocket, scramble, and Luther Burden is a guy I think who could pay off with that price of any of the Bears receivers.
Yeah, Manungai, fun guy, legacy game, incoming. I like that, Logan Leapock.
He's hard to tackle.
Yeah, I think people have written off the Packers a little prematurely because Parsons went down and they're the 7th seed. Like, they're literally favored on the road in this game.
Yes.
And if they win this game, yeah, they'll be underdogs in Seattle. But I think they'll have the quarterback advantage. I feel better about Jordan Love than I do Sam Darnold. And so, you know, anything can happen. This is a very open year.
There's no question about that. And that's my concern about the Seahawks just overall, is that just we've seen Sam Darnold in these big games melt down.
Yeah, people, the chatter about Darnold after the Niners game, I thought was perplexing. It's like, oh, Darnold wins the big game. It's like, I didn't think Sam Darnold was a big part of them winning that game. His first drive where he looks off Charbonnet wide open in the flat into the end zone is so rattled by that he can't get them lined up and they have to call timeout. Darnold, he made some throws in the second half, but he was very shaky.
But he didn't lose it like when he was at the end of his Vikings career. So I think that's kind of what they compared
They're
it
grading
to.
him on a curve.
Yes,
he wasn't an unmitigated disaster the way he has been in other big
The thing
games.
is, it's like, it's really hard to actively lose a game against the Niners defense. Like, it's just really hard. Phil Rivers torched them. Caleb Williams put
Like
up
you had
38
the
against them.
the last shootout game versus the Rams, 38-37, to withstand Matthew Stafford going ape shit, like just going crazy, and to still come out and win that game with Sam Darnold as your quarterback.
He made some great
is
throws
like,
on that final drive, for sure.
I will also say Colston Loveland, if you're going to punt at tight end, 4,400 is kind of interesting. Since week 9, he's the 4th best tight end in fantasy football.
Look at the prop board for this one. I have a feeling the passing will be pretty similar, and there it is right there. Although Jordan Love, because of the deep throwing, with the higher number in this game.
Give me Luther Burden over here. I know Dunze's back.
I think that would be the play, just because he can do that in 2 plays with his ability after the catch. Christian Watson primed for what you think would be a big game, or at least a value play on the DraftKings prices.
Yeah, I think Jordan Love as well over 222.5. We forget because he got hurt, but he was looking great to start that game against the Bears. He was coming off a really hot stretch going into that game as well before he suffered the concussion. And the secret about the Bears is their defense isn't very good at all. Yeah. Brock Purdy did whatever he wanted against them, despite losing Trent Williams on the first play of the game.
No team allows a higher completion percentage on deep passes, 15 yards or more downfield, than the Chicago Bears. So I do think, to your point about Christian Watson, that feels like a low number for me to Christian Watson, especially because he's healthy and he's been the focal point of this passing attack since he's come back.
Yep. All right, going over to the AFC side, guys. This one, the highest point total of the entire slate. The Bills going to Jacksonville. Of course, you'd have to pay a monster number for that Bills stack right there, Matthew, between James Cook and Josh Allen.
Yeah, and I don't want it. To be honest with you, I think it's going to be a popular stack, and I'm not sure it's one that's going to pay off. I think they're going to try to run the ball quite a bit with James Cook. Jaguars have a really good defense. I would rather, if I was doing a stack in this game, I think I'd rather do it on the Jaguar side, and then maybe come back with a James Cook or something like that. But I think ETN has a big game here. I think they run him a ton. There hasn't been a quarterback hotter in fantasy football than Trevor Lawrence. You know, he's the best quarterback in fantasy since week 5. Since week 5, he's averaging over 22 fantasy points per game. How about Parker Washington? 21 fantasy points over the last 3 weeks as well. It's not like the Bills are great against slot receivers as well. So there's a bunch of different ways you could go with a Jaguar stack, but to me that's more interesting in this game. I will say this, Lawrence and Connor. I took the under in this game when we did early line alert earlier in the week, because 51.5, 52.5?
When you took it, it was 52.5.
It's 52.5.
Yeah.
So right, I move the markets.
Yes.
Everyone knows. Yeah, put it out on social, and next thing you know.
On what was the Threads?
Yeah, on Threads. Yeah, all the sharps now coming in on the under.
Do monitor Threads.
Yeah, exactly. They monitor my Threads. Yeah.
I could see under, especially from the Bills side of things, if they can't get James Cook going, because this season, the passing game has been able to get going after you get the run game going. You look at some of their last few games, you get 12 points versus the Eagles. You barely beat the Cleveland Browns. You struggled there. So their offense, you got to see that run game get going so it could open it up for Josh Allen to do his thing.
Ryan Oswald says the Traveler Parker Washington all day.
Yeah.
I can get behind that.
It's been a stack that's been working along. I mean, just how do you see these guys going against this defense? This Bills. I mean, the reason I took the under is I think the Jaguars have an underrated defense. The game's in Jacksonville, and I think both teams will try to go run heavy, which limits possessions. And so, assuming there's not a pick six or a fumble, some sort of quick score like that, this one doesn't feel like a shootout to me.
Yeah, looking at these prop markets, I would lean under on James Cook, 79.5. The Jags have the best rush defense in the NFL by success rate. They don't get a lot of love for
that, but they do.
Yeah, and I think that if you're constructing a story of success for the Bills in this game in terms of stacks, in terms of same-game parlays, it would be that Josh Allen is able to do it through the air, because this Jags pass defense, I think the jury's a little bit out still on them. They're not nearly as imposing against the pass as they are against the run. And so they just haven't played a lot of super explosive offenses while they've gone on this 8-game win streak. Like, the 2 best teams they played in that time were Bo Nix and the Broncos, and Bo Nix was horrific in that game. And then the Chargers with Justin Herbert, just before the Chargers hit the bye, and the Chargers scored 6 points. They just never really fired a shot. But I think that there is a world where Josh Allen can just move the ball through the air, and that's more likely than James Cook gashing the Jags.
Yeah, if you want to stack him with Shakir and like Dalton Kincaid.
Yeah.
Like
What about Brandon Cooks?
Brandon Cooks.
Brandon Cooks.
He made some big catches versus the Eagles.
He definitely did that.
Like, is that receiver for the Bills, is one of those receivers going to make those type of plays? I think that'll be the difference in this game, and that's why I would lean under 2. And a question for everybody here, where was Brian Thomas on that list, the over-unders? I didn't see him. He
doesn't make it these days.
Khalil Shakir was at 44 and a half.
Right? I thought, to me, the most interesting bet there was Travis Etienne at I think it was 62 and a half over. I would take the over there.
I like Etienne a lot this week.
Yeah. I don't think the Bills have a very good run defense, and I think that's what they're going to want to do is if Josh Allen isn't on the field, Josh Allen can't hurt him.
42 and a half for Brian Thomas.
Yeah, wow.
Sad state of affairs. Against not a particularly frightening pass.
But I'd probably take the under if I had to bet that. That's not a line I feel great about.
No. The Bills are good on the back end.
Yeah.
As much as we clown their run defense a lot, they vary up their coverages. They're very reliable on the back end. Yeah, it's not a great matchup for BTJ. But Parker Washington and Jacoby Myers seem to get theirs. All right, let's go to Eagles 49ers. 49ers, 4.5 point. This line's actually been moving a little bit away from the Niners. Obviously, a lot of faith in backing the Eagles in this one. But Christian McCaffrey, of course, Matthew, he's going to be one of the most expensive players for daily prizes.
There's no question about it. I mean, look, the argument here is Eagles have a good run defense and everything like that, a good defense just in general. But, if you're on the road, you're going with Christian McCaffrey here. Christian McCaffrey's going to touch the ball 25 times in this game.
At least. He has to.
Right, exactly.
That's their only chance. And by the way, they're 4.5 point underdogs here. So I do think if you're going to pay up for one, to me, the 2 superstars that I would be willing to pay up this weekend are Puka Nacua and Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, there's no doubt that McCaffrey's going to get the workload, and he doesn't even need to be particularly efficient. He was still, the number 1 player in fantasy, despite averaging 3.9 yards per carry. And it might be ugly against the Eagles, but they might not have any other pathway because it doesn't look that optimistic for Trent Williams and Ricky Pearsall. That is why the line has drifted further out in the Eagles' favor. So, yeah, McCaffrey, as he has been all year, will be their alpha and omega.
I think Kittle's interesting in this game as well. Obviously, always has a big connection with Brock Purdy. I feel like that's one of the few weaknesses of the Eagles. They don't defend the tight end nearly as well as they do perimeter wide receivers as well. And as Burks and Flannels says, angry CMC after that last game.
It's quite an avatar.
Yeah, it is quite an avatar. I wonder if,
is that what's her name from
that's
Scooby-Doo?
Velma. I believe that's Velma from Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Angry CMC. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not sure anger is going to crack open.
Yeah, I'm about to say it
against Jalen Carter.
It won't matter too much, but if they don't have Trent Richardson,
he's angry.
He's
with
get them 7-8 catches.
With Brock Purdy under center this year, George Kittle has a 24% target share, averaging over 16 fantasy points per game, 67 receiving yards a game. I do think Kittle has a big game here. My question is, do you think the Eagles can get Saquon Barkley going in this one? Their offensive line's getting healthier.
Right, and this is the game to do it because San Francisco, they're just, not only have they run out of people, you can run the ball against them. They just lost Tatum Bethune, who was the standout rookie linebacker, already filling in for their injured linebackers.
Right. They running on fumes.
Yeah, they're running. Yeah. So Saquon, and that's why his prop is set all the way to still at 81.5, Lawrence.
The good thing for Saquon Barkley, at least 17 fantasy points in 3 of his last 4 games, 2 runs of more than 45 yards in his last 4 games. In it, weeks 1 through 13, he only had 1 run of 20-plus yards. So they've gotten him going slowly but surely. And like you said, Connor, if there ever be a week, this be that week right here versus these 49ers.
I think if I had to take a line on Jalen Hurts passing him, I think take the under. It feels like here in the playoffs, I think he starts becoming running Jalen again. I think they start using his legs, and I
hope so.
I think it's a big. They need to.
Yeah.
He had almost 200 yards rushing in the playoffs last year.
And they had started. They had started doing that the past few games. Prior to the game against the Bills, he had run for 39 and 40 yards. So they're starting to get that going now.
Yeah, with the Niners' run defense, I think there's this idea that Seattle has a good run game because they run it a lot, and it's Ken Walker and Charbonnet gets in the end zone a lot. The Seahawks have not been efficient on the ground at all this year. They use it. Their offense is effective because of the play action that they run off of the run game and the explosives to Jackson Smith and Jigba. Even with that, they did whatever they wanted on the ground against the Niners. At one point, they're averaging like 8 yards per carry on the ground. It's like, geez, the Niners, is there anything?
Ken Walker's never looked better. I mean, he just looked
What we've been waiting for.
Yeah, exactly.
To Connor's point, they don't have the bodies left at all. Bethune going down is just like adds further insult to injury.
I don't think the Eagles try to get cute in this game and just start airing it out all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Just lean on Saquon, like you said. Maybe Hurts gets going in the ground game a little bit. We'll be interesting to see how that
I
plays
hope the
out.
Niners win this game. I don't think they're going to.
Do you think if the Niners do win this game that Sirianni potentially there's some noise around him?
No,
I don't think so either. But there's been a lot of chatter.
I think they'll get a new OC.
He just seemed, he that guy that it just seemed like that every year on the internet. Like
doesn't do himself a
like he
little bit.
literally gotta win the Super Bowl because that was it. Because remember, it's man, if he can't get through this NFC Championship,
Philadelphia fans are passionate.
They hold a high standard.
They hold a high standard.
Sirianni,
and Sirianni hasn't helped himself, but
Sirianni, another guy. I got no idea if he's a good coach.
No,
I have no idea.
No idea.
Because whenever
he's at least good.
I think he's a good coach.
When you win a Super Bowl, the question is, are you a great coach?
Yeah.
He's a good coach.
I
get the Eagles have all this talent. Howie's great. I get it, but like. The man is a good coach. I don't know if he's a great coach.
He's a good coach. This is how you know, right? Yes, they got the talent. You take a team with the Falcons, who don't really have that much talent, but they got talent enough to where they should be winning the NFC South, but they didn't. So you got to coach the talent.
But the argument is that if you put Nick Sirianni on the Falcons, is the outcome that much different? But by the way, if you put Raheem Morris on the Eagles, do they win the Super Bowl? Like.
I don't think it changes much either way. But the thing with Sirianni,
that's my point.
The reason why I posed the question is that past 4 years, the offense has been great. 2 of those years, those are the years they had Shane Steichen and Kellen Moore, who we all agree are good OCs. In between, Sirianni's an offensive coach. That's his side of the ball.
Right.
Not good without those 2 guys. So, and the offense this year has just been. It's been very ugly.
Vic Fangio's done a great job on the defensive side of the ball, but Vic Fangio's a legendary DC that's been around forever.
Right. But to his credit, a huge job of being the head coach that nobody ever gives them credit for is who you hire.
Yeah, that's for sure.
So I get it. I really do.
That's very fair.
But
he's a good coach.
Aaron Glenn hired Steve Wilkes.
Yeah.
Right? All we do is God,
Nick
the Jets
Sirianni
defense
also
is laughable.
hired Kevin Petullo, which doesn't seem to have worked out.
But
he's going to get a mulligan because of the 2 previous hires.
Right, he's going to get a new guy every year,
Yeah. So next year he's due to hit because he hits
Watch him hire
even
Cliff.
years.
Watch him hire Cliff.
Yeah.
All right, our last weekend game here because, of course, the Texans and Steelers are on Monday night. And this is our game, guys, of course, on NBC. Chargers, Patriots. Mike Vrabel, a lot of praise for Justin Herbert this year.
He's got toughness, great arm talent, great athletic ability. He's under duress, and it doesn't really affect him. You don't see him get frustrated. A lot of respect for him as a person, obviously as a player. And he's lived up to everything that they thought he'd be as a franchise quarterback, and he's really just one of the best quarterbacks in the league.
So we look at the prices here. Drake May at the top of the board, the potential MVP. Stephon Diggs, though, after him. Amarian Hampton, I think, Matthew, would be priced higher if he wasn't a little banged up.
Yeah, he is. He missed practice the other day as well. But to your point, Patriots giving up 131 rushing yards a game since Week 10. You can run on New England. And even with yes, I get it, their offensive line is not great. But Hampton has looked really good when he's been healthy. So the question is, how healthy is he? We'll get a better sense of that on Sunday, especially when you tune into Football Night in America on NBC Sports and Peacock before the Chargers-Patriots game, which is on our air. It's a big one here. I do think if you're playing DraftKings, if you're playing DFS, the Patriots defense is pretty interesting. Obviously, it's a home game, and Justin Herbert just takes a lot of sacks. It's not all his fault because of that line, but it just feels like this is an opportunity for the Patriots defense.
Yeah, it should be. issue is the Patriots defense this year, despite playing the easiest schedule in the league, hasn't been that imposing. And particularly against the run, they've been really weak in recent weeks. So they've had teams run all over them. I think everyone was upset that Derrick Henry didn't come back into the game against the Pats because Derrick Henry was lighting up the Pats. And it's not just Derrick Henry.
That's part of the reason. Well, never mind. We talked about that earlier.
Yeah, but I think that if Hampton does play, it is somewhat of a favorable matchup because the Pats' run D has been so suspect.
All right, let's go to real quick on Texans Steelers. I want to show the prop board, but our more in-depth preview is going to be on our Monday show. We're not going to spend a lot of time right now because we'll be back on Monday breaking this game down. But just to show you guys the prices, Nico Collins priced almost at a superstar level value here, Matthew.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I get it, right? I mean, he's the focal point of that passing attack. Steelers secondary has not been terrific this year as well. So I do think Nico Collins has the chance of getting the most work here in this game from a fantasy football perspective. Since week 11, Kenneth Gainwell's got an almost 20% target share. When you think about how good the defensive line of Houston is, I think they're going to get after Rodgers in a big way. So I think Kenneth Gainwell has a big PPR cheat code kind of day. Just a bunch of dump-offs against Houston.
The Chargers and Patriots' quest for the Lombardi Trophy begins Sunday night in Foxborough. Coverage begins at 7:30 with Football Night in America as we lead you up to kickoff in New England, only on NBC and Peacock. Taking our first break. When we're back, more to come, including Matthew's top 10 positional rankings for the playoffs right after this.
It is totally different in an NFL postseason. What about his progress just indicates he's ready for this kind of stage?
Yeah, I mean, he's a completely different quarterback than when we first took this job. Courage for where he's at right now. I know he's really looking forward to this opportunity to go out there, and he's played some really good football here, particularly in the back half of the season for us, and we're going to need that. We're going to need him at his best.
Ben Johnson, of course, his offense expected to maybe play a big part in this playoffs, but we're looking at your playoff rankings here, Matthew. And Matthew Stafford, the #1 quarterback, but of course this comes with a caveat because bye weeks matter a lot for playoff fantasy rankings.
Yeah, I mean, listen, there's a lot of different ways to play playoff fantasy football. Some you're dealing with on a week-to-week basis. Some you're just you have to pick a lineup and you can only pick one player from each team. So there's, whether there's drafts, there's sort of salary cap. If you want to do a guillotine league, we're on guillotineleagues.com. We're doing guillotinies, which are 5 or 8 man teams, same way that you play guillotine leagues, except there's no bench. And after each round, 1 or 2 teams get chopped, depending on your whether you're a 5 or 8 team league. So it all depends, right? Sort of what kind of statute here, but you have to sort of the way it sort of works is you have to sort of think through how do you view the playoffs going out. You have to kind of make a call there, and so it's about number of games played. We think the Rams go deep in the playoffs. They're the second favorite to play in the Super Bowl. They're in the NFC. So, but because they don't have a bye, in theory, they should have better odds to make it further than the Seahawks from a fantasy football perspective, right? There's a better chance that Stafford plays the most games than Sam Darnold as well. So Stafford, who obviously multiple touchdown passes in 15 to 17 games this year, the second highest odds to make the Super Bowl here. Obviously, you love the matchup against the Carolina Panthers. Don't love it. He has to go, to Philadelphia in round 2.
Yeah,
but you live with it.
But you could live with it.
Yeah.
Also, could be Seattle, could be Philadelphia. It could be Chicago. Like, there are different matchups that are plausible.
For sure. But, obviously, so I have Stafford at 1, Allen at 2, May at 3. The Trevor there in 5. So, one of those guys is going to move on, whether it's Josh Allen or Trevor Lawrence. And you see it there, Sam Darnold at 10. Because, again, he's going to miss at least one game.
Right.
And obviously, as I've said, Sam Darnold's not I don't think the Seahawks make the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Also plausible that the Rams in round 2 could be hosting the 49ers. But yeah, the main thing is that Stafford is an 85% chance to get out of round 1, according to the market, whereas the guys directly beneath him, like Josh Allen, is a 50% chance to just get eliminated by the Jags. Drake May is favored, but he's more like a 60 to 65% favorite. So just Stafford's likelihood of playing the most games. And also, the guy threw 46 touchdown passes and led the NFL in passing yards. So, yeah, I think he's the clear number 1.
I like this comment from Mick Genuine. I've never done well with playoff leagues. I always get the wrong players.
Yeah, well, pick the good ones, Mick. That's if I can give you one piece of advice, it's like get the right players.
Yeah.
Pick the good players. Stop picking the bad ones.
Picking Elijah Arroyo. Jackson Smith and
Let's try to find some of the right running backs. There's Matthew's top 10 here. Lawrence,
I do think Drake May has a good, playoff run.
What name on this board do you think might have some sneaky value?
Well, I thought Josh Allen and I talking about the quarterbacks previously, so I would say James Cook. If the Bills could get out of this game, then they could go. I think this Jaguars team is a real challenge for this Bills offense, but if you could get out of this wild card round with the Bills, right, so you'll still have James Cook and hopefully somehow avoid the Houston Texans because they'll get after you. The Bills should be able to beat anybody despite their bad run defense. So I would like James Cook going here, the NFL's leading rusher.
Let's pull that board back up again.
Yeah.
And obviously
Travis
the top
Etienne
of it, Kyren Williams,
is interesting
Saquon Barkley, and you brought up Travis Etienne, who was number 5.
Yeah, so Kyren Williams at 1, obviously, same argument with Stafford. And again, they're the second best Super Bowl odds, but they're playing this weekend, whereas the Broncos and Seahawks are not. But since week 9, Etienne's been a top 10 fantasy running back. He's averaging over 18 touches per game. He's tied for the 4th most red zone touches this season. They use him a lot. They use him when they get in close. I like the matchup against Buffalo here. Obviously, they need to get out of this round. But I think the Jaguars have a better chance than people are giving them against Buffalo.
I think so too. That's why when I say James Cook, it's like, hey, Bills got to win this game.
Yeah.
Like I if I'm a Bills fan, I'm worried about this Jaguars team than I am the Patriots. The Broncos, I think he could handle the Broncos. They did last year in the playoffs. Better Broncos team now, but I feel better about the Bills versus a lot of other teams in the AFC as opposed to these Jaguars.
Yeah, a little niche, but the way that the market treats these, every team has a rating, right? So the Rams are rated about 7 points better than your average team. They're rated the best team in football. The Steelers are rated as like a dead average team. Their rating is like 0. I think as we go through the playoffs, the team that has the most scope to improve their rating and how the market treats them is Jacksonville. I just think this team has a ton of variance because they have been just about the best team in football over the past 2 months, but they haven't played a ton of teams. If the Jags beat the Bills and do it emphatically, all of a sudden it's like, all right, Jags are rated the best team in the AFC. Yeah. This team is, probably the favorite to get out of the AFC at that point.
Let's go to the wide receivers. Jacksonville, of course, has 3 different notable wide receivers, as you see 2 of them down the board, in Jacoby Myers and Parker Washington. But, Matthew, how about Devontae Adams finally healthy? We just know the absolute touchdown merchant that he is.
Again, we keep talking about the Rams, but it's because we think they got a really good shot at the Super Bowl and they're going to play the most games. So Puka at 1, Devontae Adams at 3, multiple end zone targets each of the last 5 games he played. Over his last 8 games, 11 receiving targets. He's touchdown dependent, but he's got as good a chance at scoring as any wide receiver in the NFL because Stafford looks for him when he's getting close, and we think Stafford, especially against Carolina, is going to want to pad his stats.
All right, guys, let's close out with tight end
Parker Washington
sneaking in there,
and Nico Collins at 5.
And once again, I don't see Brian Thomas Jr.
Yeah, you like the Steelers to cover. You don't think the Steelers win, though, do you?
I think it's a coin flip game.
Really?
I
think they could win.
I think that C.J. Stroud is very shaky when he's under pressure, and I think with Watt and that defensive line on Texans on the road, I think Stroud will be under pressure, and I wouldn't feel great about that. And also, what's the Texans' strength is they get after the quarterback with Anderson and Hunter and co. Rodgers gets the ball out faster than anyone anyway. He exists in a world where, I mean, it'll be a problem.
But if they get through and he's not,
I just keep thinking of the Browns game where he was like, I'm not going to be Myles Garrett. Sack record, and then I picture 2 Texans edge rushers, and he's just throwing it 3 yards at a time.
And it won't work against the Texans.
That's what I'm saying.
Much better defensive backfield on the Texans than he just saw with the Ravens.
Yeah, I do think, though, that DK Metcalf is a big difference there. And
Definitely.
The first time that Rodgers played the Browns, he was much better with DK there. So
yeah, and we talked about Gainwell in the previous segment as well. But I do think a lot of dump offs coming for Kenneth Gainwell.
Finally, the tight ends. How about Brenton Strange?
How about Brenton
making
Strange?
this board? You know George Kittle and Dallas Goedert. Nothing surprises you there. But Brenton Strange, once again, it goes back to Jay's point, Matthew. There's a world where Jacksonville runs this thing all the way to the Super Bowl where he would hold a totally different value.
There's no question. 5 straight games with at least 1 red zone target. He's been a top 10 tight end on a points per game basis since he came back from IR in week number 12. There's not a lot at the tight end position. Stop me if you've heard that before. So I do think if you're doing a draft, reaching for Kittle is fine. Again, you have to feel good about the Niners' chances of beating Philadelphia. Right. We think the Eagles win, but it's a football game. Anything can happen. But that's why, just because there's not a lot there at the tight end position, you have to think like Kittle's so talented, and there's a chance that he could play multiple games.
Which is why I would like a guy like Dallas Goedert, the guy who leads the Eagles in receiving touchdowns on a team with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. 11 touchdowns, receptions this year. They get him the ball at the goal line. They'll throw him a jet sweep just to get the cheap touchdown in there sometimes. So Dallas Goedert, and again, I actually think the Eagles will be in the Super Bowl again, so he's the type of tight end that I would target.
The countdown is on to NBA All-Star Weekend. Vote daily with your NBA ID to help shape the U.S. versus World All-Star rosters in the NBA app. Every vote gives you a chance to win a free trip to NBA All-Star 2026. Catch the action February 13th through the 15th on NBC and streaming on Peacock. We're taking one more break, one more back. A very special Wild Card Weekend edition of Pickup Lines right after this. NFL, and new customers can bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Download the app and use promo code FFHH when you sign up. DraftKings Sportsbook.
Oh, the crowd is Gobbler, where are you?
Last call. Lines. As we take a look at the board, the spreads, the totals. Jay, what do you got for Matthew?
Okay, I'm going Saquon Barkley over 18.5 rushing attempts.
Winner.
Come on.
He's gone 20, 22, 21, 19 his past 4 games over in 4 straight. And here's the thing. When the Seahawks played the Niners last week, the Niners being Philly's opponent, how many times the Seahawks ran the ball? 39 times. Saquon gets the 19 carries.
All right, Lawrence, what about you?
It is a good bet, though. That's the problem.
We'll see. Who am I to judge? I'll tell you Monday.
When you talk about these plus money bets, you act like I'm Shaquille O'Neal shooting from the three-point line, just a bunch of air ball. Look, Brock Purdy, 20 rushing yards. It's at plus 107. That's not it's not like it's plus 250, right? And he's at least done it in 3 out of his last 4 games. He's scrambling Brock right now. He's been running. And if he don't get Trenton Williams back, he's going to be doing a lot more of that versus this Eagles front. So give me Brock Purdy, 20 rushing yards at plus 107. Done it 3 of his last 4 games.
All right, give me Rhamondre Stevenson over 13.5 receiving yards. He's done this in his last 5. He's smashed this out of the park in his last 5, 6 of his last 7. They are throwing the ball a lot to Rhamondre Stevenson effectively, and this game will be close enough that they have to.
Yeah, I like all those bets, actually. But you know what, Connor?
No, I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't want you to pick me.
Then I'm going home with Lawrence. Fine. Screw you guys. Hey, all right, we're back on Monday. Good luck with your bets. For Jay, Connor, Lawrence, I'm Matthew. Peace out.